All right. And action. Oh. Oh, one more. What was I watching the other day? Thor. Thor Ragnarok. I got about halfway. I got like 30 minutes into it. I shut it right off. I got news for you. Everybody thinks Marvel's hitting on all cylinders. Guardians of the Galaxy destroyed. I'm going to tell you right now. Guardians of the Galaxy destroyed the superhero genre. Okay, for some reason, after Guardians of the Galaxy, the success. Because what was Guardians of the Galaxy? If you would have told somebody before the movie came out, hey, you check out the Guardians of the Galaxy comics, they would have been like, how, what? Nobody knew who they were. And then the movie was such a flying success. I get it. Marvel was like, ooh, we're on to something here. Then every Marvel movie to follow had to turn into a fucking Rodney Dangerfield comedy. Guys, I'm watching Thor. I'm not watching Johnny Carson. It's a Viking with a goddamn warhammer. It's like the Incredible Hulk. We still haven't gotten the proper Incredible Hulk movie. There couldn't be an easier formula for a superhero movie. We got this superhero, he turns enormous when he gets fucking pissed off. Ugh. Who's writing these movies? I got news for you right now. You want to make the Hulk a hit? You get a working class guy from Long Island to write that movie. Because nobody understands rage like a guy from Long Island. I turn into the Hulk every day when I find out my property taxes are going up. Jesus Christ, you got. Oh my God, that's how I would write the movie. The Hulk comes home. Oh, there's some guy terrorizing. Let's say, I don't know. There's some guy terrorizing, some bad guy running around in the world or whatnot. Hulk comes home from work. He's got 2 red light tickets sitting on his little table when he walks in his foyer. That's all it takes. Turn into a raging animal. Oh my God. I gotta watch Thor cracking jokes. It's not appropriate. Deadpool is responsible for that too. You know something? Thor's hammer. Let me tell you something. What's the deal with Thor's hammer? Only Thor can pick it up? I don't fucking know. Oh boy, what are you gonna do? It reminds me of the time. You want to see rage, okay? Let me give you the story of working in New York. You want the real fucking story? It's probably like this everywhere else. But I'll tell you, this is why I do my show. I do my show for this sad, sorry son of a bitch. Okay? It's the guy that goes to work and he injures his back. But he doesn't want to go out on workman's comp because he's heard all the stories before. You go out, you don't get paid for weeks. You go to you sit in doctor's offices for 2 hours at a time. In the waiting room for 2 hours waiting to see an orthopedist. You schedule an appointment to see an orthopedist. It takes a month for them to see you. And forget about it if you need an MRI. That might take a half a year. And then you got doctors that are looking at you like you're trying to pull a fast one. You're sitting in there with an injury, and you got doctors looking at you with a, giving you the eye like you're trying to pull one. So you can go out on permanent disability. Because so many people have done it before. I can't even blame the doctor. So you sit there and you say, all right, I'm not going to go the workman's comp route. I'll just grin and bear it. So you wind up going to work with a hurt back. You don't tell your wife or your kids because you don't want anybody to worry about it. But you sit there and you grit your teeth and you go to work anyway. But for some reason, people smell blood in the water. And you work for a scumbag boss who knows that something's off, so he's going to ride you extra hard. Because he's got no fucking life and he gets no joy from anything other than controlling others. So you go to work and you're working on a bad back, which is basically making it even worse. So an injury that could have healed, I don't know, in a few weeks with some rest, winds up turning into an injury that lasts years. Oh, and you think that's not possible? Oh, it's very possible. And you go to and if you go to the doctor on your own without workman's comp and you need some type of procedure or some type of surgery, oh, it's going to come out of your pocket. And you'll basically bankrupt yourself trying to heal yourself. It's either that or the doctors will give you drugs. So many drugs, you won't even know whether you're coming or you're going. And none of the drugs will actually fix the problem. And then you come home and you get 3 red light tickets to the tune of $150 a pop. And these people can't understand why people are running around like maniacs. That's the guy that needs to write the Hulk movie. There's the guy that understands rage, not some Hollywood producer. And now I'm going to sit there and I'm going to watch Thor crack jokes. You know what? All right. Jesus Crimler. I'll tell you something. I'll give you one better than Thor's hammer. Me and my buddy Jude, we went out one night garbage picking. It's the thing to do when you're a kid. I used to pick stereo me and my buddy Phil, this was with Jude, but me and my buddy Phil, we used to go around picking stereo speakers. Phil's room was loaded with speakers. He had this big Lafayette receiver, this big old Lafayette receiver. And Phil's room was speakers wall to wall. Every time we'd find a new speaker in the trash, we'd hook it up in Phil's room. This poor Lafayette receiver was probably, little did we know then, we didn't know anything about ohms or anything like that. We had so many speakers daisy chained to each other. This thing was probably running at like a third of an ohm. I don't know. God almighty, that receiver. He probably still has that receiver today. And it still works. You can't buy a piece of audio equipment like that anymore. You gotta find it in the trash. So that's what we would do. So here we go. Me and Jude, we're going cruising on our bicycles. Beautiful summer night. We happen upon this pile of garbage. It has these huge, what are those? It looks like a toilet paper tube, but it's huge. And it's like with the carpet, like a roll of carpet comes on. This real long cardboard tube, real heavy duty. So Jude takes it out of the trash, and we're just riding along with it. We're like, we'll do something with it. We don't know what we're gonna do with it. And all of a sudden, we're riding along, and I hear what sounds like an explosion. I look back. Jude is using the tube like a joust, and he's smashing it into garbage cans. So, let me tell you something. I broke out into laughter, probably like I've never laughed in my life. And there's Jude, and he's hitting, and as we're riding our bikes, he's nailing one garbage can after another. And when I tell you, the impact from this fucking thing hitting the garbage can, it was like the garbage can was exploding. It was like he was hitting the garbage can, and the trash bags were flying out of the top of the garbage can as they went over. It was one, and he was hitting one trash can after another. I swear to God, we had to go 9 blocks. You look back, it was just the street, it looked like a tornado came down the road. And on top of that, every time he hit a trash can, Jude was yelling, "Hey, Dodge!" Jude was fucking nuts, man. So then, when we get done and we're basically exhausted, we stop our bikes and we're sitting there talking. And out of the shadows comes one of the neighbors. And when I tell you this guy looked like, I swear to Christ, he looked like Paul Bunyan. He always wore a flannel shirt. You knew he did some type of like heavy duty work. He was a mountain of a man. He was huge. Huge. This guy comes out of the shadows. Now we're on our bikes. The guy's like maybe 15 feet away. If you're on foot, you can run away. If you're on a bike, you have that, you have to get out of the hole. You have to accelerate on that bicycle. And if somebody's 15 feet away, and you try to ride away from them, they'll catch you. Because you can't get that initial speed up. So we're sitting ducks now. This guy comes walking up, he grabs the tube, he rips the tube out of Jude's hand. And I'll never forget this, because the fear that I had for what was coming next, I thought he was gonna. He takes the tube and he goes like this, motherfucker! This is why it reminds me of Thor's hammer. And when that tube hit the ground, as heavy duty as that tube was, the tube just flattened out. It bent, it kinked, and flattened out on the floor. And me and Jude were sitting there like this. And he gets in Jude's face and he goes, "Now clean it up!" Oh, man. And I can remember we both scurried over to his garbage can. And It just cleaned it up as fast as we could. So you want to talk about a guy that should have wrote the Hulk. It was that guy. And the backstory on that guy, we all knew that guy. His wife left him for another woman. That'll ruin your fucking day. Between that and working, working 60 hours a week. Anyway. You want to talk about anger? Just go to garage sales on Long Island. I'll tell you right now, I'm so fed up. Very first garage sale I went to, alright? I got this old guy cruising around now for video games. He wears a Batman shirt. He's old. I don't know why. He's got to be in his 60s. I've seen him the last few weeks at garage sales and heard him. Asking for video games. Okay, but this time when I rolled up on the sale, he's sitting there rifling through a box of games. So I get out of my car, I see that, I automatically turn around. I get back in my car and I go. And I say, okay, let me get out of this area. So I wind up leaving the area. I run into another shark that I always see. This little short guy that drives this piece of shit van. And he's got this big fucking pepper nose. And I want to punch him right in his pepper nose. He's another one that's always scheming around for video games. I think his buddy owns like a thrift store or something like that, and he goes cruising around for him. I don't know how it's worthwhile to drive it around in an F-350 extended van. How much that must cost in gas, I have no idea. But every time I see this guy, I want to fucking get out of the car and drop kick him right into his goddamn piece of shit van. Another old guy. You know what? I don't know what it is, but old people cruising for video games pisses me off so much. Even though I'm an old guy. So, I wind up seeing the first guy that I saw in the morning, I wind up seeing him again at another sale. And it's like, I pull up, I see these clowns, and I just try to drive away. So, I got my kid in the car. It was a beautiful day. I probably went to like 20, 25 garage sales. Okay? And when you have your kid, you're taking them in and out of the car seat. That's 50 garage... That's 50 times. In 25 garage sales, it's 50 times in and out of the car seat. My back can only take so much. So the 50th time I'm loading them in, I have nothing. Nothing. I finally said, what the fuck am I doing? It's the first time that I actually said to myself, what the fuck am I doing? This is ridiculous. I'm out here getting swept by old guys. I'm wrestling my kid in and out of the fucking car. Finally, I said to myself, it's a beautiful day. I'm wasting my fucking time here. I said I could go to Walmart, pick up a bottle of car wax, wash my car. My car's a filthy fucking mess. I said I should be home washing my car right now, doing something productive with my life. And that's what I decided to do. And wouldn't you know, I can't tell you how many times this has happened on this show. I can't. I'm on my way to Walmart, leaving the residential areas. And here we go. Here's another garage sale. Didn't see a sign. Was just driving, saw tables set up, people setting up. It's like 10:30 in the morning. I said, okay. I said, let me give this a shot. Last one. I get out of the car. I ask number one, the guy comes around the corner. He's got a beard. A young guy with a beard, I just feel like running to the hills. Anytime I go to a garage sale and I see a young guy with a beard, I say, that's it, I'm out of here. Because usually they know the skinny when it comes to video games. Anyhow, I ask him, hey buddy, You got any video games? He goes, oh yeah. He goes, hang on a second. And he comes out with this crate of Nintendo stuff. And now, he brings out the crate. He's like, I take a quick scan of what's in there. I don't even really know exactly what's in there because I like to save it. I took a look at 2 things in here, and I said, okay, this is a go. I said, how much you want for this stuff? He goes, oh, that's my sister's stuff. I gotta ask her. Oh, so right away, I'm like breaking out into a cold sweat. As he's walking into the house, I give him this shot though. I say, hey, ask her if it works. That's something I do just to take people down a couple pegs. Because nobody knows really if it works. Because it's been so long since they played it. So that's my only real bargaining chip. And so as soon as she comes out of the house, I hit her with, do you know if this stuff works? Like, give it a look of disinterest, like, I don't really want to deal with it. So I was like, you know if this stuff works? And she's like, oh, yeah, she's like, I think it does. It worked, last time, you know. So I said, how much you want for it? She goes, $20? I was like, $20, goodbye. All right. Let's see what we got here. Sip of coffee for scoring at the last garage sale, hey? We got this. I thought this was interesting. It's the GameStop exclusive Ocarina of Time. Not Ocarina of Time. Can everybody stop? Ocarina. If I hear somebody say Ocarina of Time again, Ocarina of Time. It's like a, strategy guide. Got here this Super Nintendo. It's filthy. It's filthy, but Nintendo stuff is fairly reliable. Always has been. I mean, except for the original NES, right? It's still reliable, I guess, if you keep it clean. But oh my God, is there any stopping a Super Nintendo? Is there any stopping an N64? Is there any stopping a GameCube? I mean, in that respect, you gotta hand it to Nintendo. Alright. It's got all the controllers and whatnot, and the cords, and some games. So let's check it out. Alright. This is like the standard, the standard Super Nintendo game that I always run into. And Sega Genesis game for some reason. Mrs. Pac-Man. Yawn. Here's an interesting one right here. And one I've never played before. Super Off-Road Baja. But I remember this game. If I remember correctly, I probably saw this because I was so crazy into the off-road games. I remember getting Ivan Stewart's Off-Road for the original Nintendo, and because off-road in the arcade was an amazing game. What was it, like four steering wheels, and it was almost like Super Sprint, but this was off-road. It slowed things down a little bit. Super Sprint was way too fast. I mean, it's a fun game, but let's face it, it's way too fast. It's really impressive to watch people that know how to play Super Sprint in the arcade. But for the first timer, every time you played Super Sprint, it was just like you darting your car into the wall the whole time. But Super Off-Road in the arcade kind of slowed that down, and I remember having it for the Nintendo. I remember it, I think, coming out for the Super Nintendo too. But Super Off-Road, it was a departure, if I remember correctly. I think it was like a almost like a third-person perspective, or like a 3D attempt at Super Off-Road.
Yeah.
Here we go. Wow, Player's Choice. Million seller. Yeah, I guess so. Super Mario Cat. Yeah. My first experience with Super Mario Kart was playing at my buddy Charlie's. And to me, Super Mario Kart was a lot of fun. Everybody loved to play it, but it didn't really become a phenomenon until, not to me, but to others, until the Nintendo 64 came out. And I think that version of Mario Kart 64 was the one everybody was really playing. I mean, even though this was super popular too. The sound, like going through the haunted house and whatnot, all those sound effects, like the big blocks hitting the ground and stuff like that, ba-doom, you know, all those sound effects, like these low, like bassy sound effects that the Super Nintendo was pumping out, and the music, the horns and whatnot, and the Mode 7, and just. Come on, guys, Mario Kart. It's incredible stuff. Pilot Wings, Mario Kart. Even ActRaiser, when you'd zoom in on a little village, or like from the cloud or whatever. The Mode 7, that's what got me. Oh my God. Nintendo's doing Mode 7 left and right. It's what I want it's what I dreamed my TurboGrafx 16 would be able to do. Mode 7 scaling was so important to a young man. Forget chasing girls. Mode 7 scaling. But Super Nintendo was doing it all day long. Alright, here we go. Super Mario All-Stars, Super Mario World. Yeah, a lot of these games are beat up. This one's alright. Super Mario Kart's alright. This one's kind of beat, but it's alright because we got 2 copies for some reason. Donkey Kong Country. Donkey Kong Country. Everybody talks about Donkey Kong Country. I've never played these games before. What did they come out later on in the Super Nintendo's life cycle? Here we go, 1992. I don't know. These are ones that went right under the radar for me. I get it. I know how popular they are. The music, the graphics, the gameplay. From what I understand, they're great games, but it's just never tried them. It's funny. It's funny how that works. It's like, you know, had Phil had rented it, I mean, it probably would be one of those games I'd be crying over today. Oh, this is one of the most nostalgic games because we probably would have got so into it, and then probably would have tried the next one and the next one, but it just never swung in that direction. And I wonder about that with people like maybe never played the Metroid series. And I think to myself, oh my God, what a crime. Who could ever go? Who had a gaming career where they never actually played Metroid? It happens. It happens. Or Zelda, or maybe even I don't know. All right. And then moving along. This is nice. I I haven't run into this in a while. It's a jungle, did I get that right? Jungle green N64. And it's in decent shape. It's just a little dusty. And that comes with, it has all the wires and everything like that. And a controller. Controller. I think the joystick shot. It feels shot. And a yellow controller. That one feels a little stiff. And it had one game with it. WCW versus NWO. So how about that? What were? Let me see. All right. My knowledge of the N64, you can basically fit in a thimble. All right. I don't know much about it. All right. It's got the. What are all? I don't know. What are they? All of the. What is it? The Funtastic colors? Is that what it is? Let me see if I know. I know we found an Atomic Purple in the box years ago. And what else you got? Watermelon Red. And then you have what? The Smoke Gray. We found a Smoke Gray one once. The blue one. What's the blue one? I don't know what the blue name is. And I don't know. Weren't there ones that were like half and half? They had half color and then a solid base too. I don't know. But it seems to me like the jungle green one's the one you run across the most. It's the most common. I don't know. So that's pretty neat. Anyhow, that was it. Maybe we'll go next week after making that find. Because for some reason, every time I'm looking to quit this show, the hand of fate grabs me by the collar. And you know why I think that is? Because you just tuned into the greatest video game program in the history of human civilization. And you better believe that. With a 4K face! We'll see you next time.